Hi everyone. So today I wanted to give a brief video demonstration of a new tool that's available in the Simple GIS Client release 12.02 that was just published. And this new tool allows the user to view elevation profiles based upon a digital elevation model in either GeoTIFF format or in the USGS DEM format. And so you can actually use this raster image and view the elevation profile by drawing a line along a segment of the image. So to begin with, I have a elevation model that's been loaded. I actually downloaded this particular raster image. I'm using the USGS data wizard in Simple GIS Client, and this is actually a 1/3 arc second digital elevation model in TIFF format, and of course I can see the different elevation profiles based upon the color gradient I've assigned to this particular TIFF image, with the bright red indicating your highest elevation values and the darker blues indicating your lowest elevation values. So to begin with, this new tool is located on the bottom row of buttons, and as you normally would see this ruler here for measuring features in Simple GIS Client, there's a new tool located on a drop down underneath the ruler called Elevation Profile. So essentially you just click on this tool and it brings up a new dialog box. In this dialog box, on the left hand side is a list box, and it lists all of the currently loaded raster images in your current map document. And so what you need to do is just select the particular raster image, whether it's a TIFF file or a DEM, a digital elevation model that contains the elevation data. So I'm going to select the TIFF image here. And now to view the elevation profile, I simply click on this button that says Draw Profile Line. And I can begin drawing a line tracking along this image. And it can be a multi-vertex line, so I could start a line here. I just simply click on the map and then click at each vertex point, so I could transverse across different areas of this particular image. And to end the line, I simply double click. It adds the line to the map, and here in the graph I now see the elevation profile along that line. And if you notice, as I move my mouse along this graph, you'll also notice the vertex highlight along the line indicating that particular position. So as I start here, I see I'm starting at a lower point and I'm coming up to a peak, which corresponds to my raster image here by the bright red color, indicating the higher elevation. I'm then descending back down into a valley, and now I'm coming back up to another peak at this point here, and then I'm descending back into a valley, back up to another peak here, and so on. So as I move my mouse, I can get the indication of the position along the line of where this elevation is measuring at. And so in addition, I can verify this with the shaded relief imagery. So I've also in this project have the Stamen terrain tile mapping service loaded. So if I was to turn off this elevation TIFF data set, I could see this shaded relief imagery underneath. And if I notice as I move along the graph here, the points that I'm selecting also corresponds quite nicely to the shaded relief imagery along the peaks and the valleys. I can also verify this. I have another shaded relief imagery that I actually generated in Simple GIS Client off of this TIFF elevation model. I can turn on this image and see that I get the same correlation here. And so the points are corresponding quite nicely with the peaks and valleys of the shaded relief imagery. So that's one way to use the elevation profile. Another way is, I'm going to close this dialog for a minute, is using GPX data. So Simple GIS Client has the ability to import GPX data that could be produced from GPS units. And then based on that GPS data with tracks and routes and what have you, waypoints, you can view the elevation of that data as well. So for instance, underneath our GPS routing menu, there's an option here to import a GPX file. When I click on this menu option, I get the Load GPX File dialog box. So I'm going to come to this Open Folder button, and I'm actually going to select the GPX code or file that I'm wanting to import. This is actually a sample GPX file that was provided. I believe this came off the Topographics website, if I'm not mistaken. But you can select your GPX file, open this file, select all the different types of features I'm wanting to import. In this case, I'm wanting to import waypoints, routes, and tracks. And if I want to import this into a new shapefile, I select the new shapefile option, and then I select the folder where I want to create these shapefiles at. So I'll click OK. Actually, I've already had imported this before, so it's just giving me a warning that those shapefiles already exist. Do I want to replace them? So for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm just going to replace them. I'll overwrite each of those shapefiles, and I'm going to add those layers now to my current map. And they are now added. Of course, they are in a different part of the world from where I'm at this point. So I'm actually going to zoom to this feature. So I'm going to zoom to that layer. And now I see these markers indicate the waypoints that were imported, and this blue line indicates the track that was imported. And so using the same elevation profile tool, I can select this tool again. In this case, I don't need to select the raster data set that has my elevation data, because the elevation data is actually stored inside my shapefile that was created from the GPX file that had the elevation data. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to select my track layer as the active layer, and then I'm going to use the select feature tool. And I'm just going to click to draw a box to intersect the track. And I see that it highlights the track on my map, and now I see the elevation profile for the track. And just like when we drew the line across the TIFF image, as I move my mouse across the graph on the elevation profile, I can see the point along the track that corresponds to this location on the graph as I move my mouse. So I can see the highest point of this particular track, which is approximately nearly looks like 400 meters, is here at this point here. I can also select the waypoints. In the case of the waypoints, if I make that my active layer and then select the select features, and I'm going to click and drag a box to intersect the waypoints that I'm wanting to map. So if I click and drag around all of them, see that it selects, and the waypoint elevations are shown as a series of bar charts. And as I move my mouse over the bar, I get the same kind of similar vertex at the base of the marker indicating which waypoint's elevation I'm looking at. And so that is pretty much the tool. Again, this is a brand new feature available in the version 12.02 release of Simple GIS Client. As always, for more information, please visit the website. That website is www.simplegissoftware.com. It's all one word, simplegissoftware.com. Thank you.